Hey, Maddie Cook, how are you?
Jeppo. I'm trialing that as a new nickname, by the way, whether you like it or
That
not.
was my dad's nickname.
Was it? Oh, you can
Yeah,
be Jeppo Junior,
I'm Jeppo now. That's what everyone called me dad, yeah.
or I'll just call you Junior next time. Yes, I am lovely. Glad that it's sun shining, getting warm, beautiful. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm really good. So, we went to Salon Smart early this year, Maddie, didn't we? And had a good
We
time.
did indeed. That was a nice time, wasn't it?
I know, did a bit of talking on stage, all of that.
Casual.
But
Yeah.
yeah, just cash. But there was a really good talk. Well, there was loads of really good talks actually, but I really enjoyed Monica Teodoro's talk. And Monica, for anyone who doesn't
Love it.
know, was great, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Is the head of education for L'Oreal UK and Ireland, and she talked about all sorts of things actually about the future of the industry. But she really touched on the fact that there's a loneliness epidemic in society coming. And I thought it was really interesting how she related this to the hair industry. And there were some stats that I think she shared this stat, didn't she? That the Office of National Statistics have shared some research that more than 1 in 4 people feel lonely,
Yeah.
which is it's a lot, you know.
Yeah, it's a
And
huge
I
number.
loved how she connected this to the hair industry.
Yeah, and it was really interesting because she kind of presented that idea of this like loneliness epidemic and how we can think about it in the future of our businesses. And there was also such a key takeaway, not just from Monica, but so many of the other speakers actually, which is interesting because they don't you don't know what the other speakers are speaking about.
No.
So it was really interesting to see if there's a theme there, then there's a theme in the greater world. And it was really about how like human connection is just so valuable between the client and the hairdresser. It's like such or a beauty therapist or whatever it is you do. And it was like not only to kind of address and hopefully reverse this loneliness epidemic, but also it's a good byproduct of it is that it's also good for business as well. So yeah, and I'd love to know your take of like how do you think we can behind the chair, how can we help our clients to feel less lonely?
Yeah, I mean, and that's really what was getting talked about, or what wasn't it, that we can really play a part in reducing that
Yeah.
epidemic. And so I think there's a few things that we can think about as service providers, you know, helping our clients with loneliness. And I think that we really do build long term trusting relationships with a lot of our clients. You know, I've seen my hairdresser for a good few years now. You know, before when I was doing hair, I was seeing people
Yeah.
where I was working. But now I am like a client. You know, I love my hairdresser. I like going to see her. I do
Same.
trust her. I have a really nice relationship with her, and I'm not giving that up for nothing, you know. And it's great, isn't it? And I think there's a lot of things to think about, but I think it's important to if you if you really want to connect with someone, you've got to be present, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that can be tough as a hairdresser sometimes, because you might be doing a couple of people at once, you might be double booked, you've got half an eye on what your assistant's doing, you've got half an eye on the person who's come in half an hour early, you know. There's a lot going on to take your attention. But I think if we can try and give all our attention to the person in front of us as much as we can, that's a really good way to make them feel seen and make connection, and really listen to what they're saying. And, you know, if you're a hairdresser, that's hard when the hairdryer's going and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
But in the moments that you can, really, you know, really listen to what they're saying and ask thoughtful questions, you know, ask clarifying questions so they'll talk a little bit more. And people are happy when they're talking about themselves often, because it's nice to feel that someone's interested in listening. And, you know, make sure you're not just talking at your clients about whatever that you're
Yeah.
interested in. And I think it's really worth considering that sometimes, like, take for example, sort of older clients who may be coming once a week for a blow dry, they might not really be getting much human connection. You know,
Yes.
this gets talked about a lot when I'm in salons, that these clients, this is might be the only person they've spoken to in real life for days. And it's a real privileged position, that. And, you know, I think we should, you know, treat these people really kindly and give them it's about giving people positive attention. I
Yeah,
think that's how you
absolutely.
noticing them in a positive way, and, you know, remembering things about them, you know,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff really matters to people.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like I had clients who were like really busy mums, loads of kids, I say loads of kids, a few kids, like
Loads of
toddlers
kids.
and just millions of kids. And like even just asking like genuinely like how are you? Sometimes you could just
Yeah.
see like the relief in the body of like no
They're
one's asked
like,
me that. Like that, they're so busy running around after
yeah,
everyone else or people who are taking care of parents
yeah,
and stuff like that. And a good little hack for us, especially for spicy brained folks or folks who don't have a great memory is um obviously we're a big fan of booking systems. We love Timely in particular, but
hmm,
putting little notes in. So I would write a little note after the client left, and I'd be like, "Going to the races, has a wedding coming up." I mean,
yes.
GDPR people can request what you've written down about them, so don't be like, "What a horrible
So that's
person this was."
interesting.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
like, just keep that in mind. But like,
yeah,
like the pet's name, I'd write how they had the coffee because I think there's no greater
exactly. I
act
was
of
just thinking
love
that. How
than
many
yeah.
sugars?
Oh, then just having that, having that beautiful like caramel latte ready for Sandra as she sits down is just
Yeah,
like so kind for them, and it's that sort of connection piece. So, how does obviously some people in the industry are working with others, or just even being part of the industry community? How can that help us to combat loneliness? Because we're still 1 in 4 people, aren't we? Like it's not just 1 in 4
yeah,
clients; it's one in
yeah.
four like everyone.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think obviously we can certainly be, um, helping with the loneliness epidemic for clients. But, my main thing is all about the hairdresser's experience behind the chair and beauty therapists as well, but service providers. I'm really interested in our experience being pleasant,
Yeah.
and I think there's several sorts of isolation that I see in my industry, in the hair industry, and it's freelancers working on their own can start to
Mm-hmm.
feel really lonely, start to feel isolated, lose their confidence because they're not talking to other hairdressers. They're just talking to their clients and they sort of lose that connection with the industry. And salon owners can start to feel really lonely because, they say it's lonely at the top, but when
Mm-hmm.
you're the one with all the responsibility, making all the decisions, um, that can start to feel really lonely. You don't want to burden your team with what's going on or problems that you might have. And
Yeah.
so I think there's things that people can do around this. Freelancers, I think you've got to find a community, and there's
Yeah.
plenty out there. I've got a good
Definitely.
one.
You've got a
you know,
banging community.
I've
You've
got
got
a
a great
good one,
community.
just saying,
Yeah,
folks. But, other memberships are available. Yeah, but I run a membership for hairdressers, and particularly it was to combat that feeling of loneliness in the industry.
yeah,
But for salon owners, I think you've really got to find other salon owners. It's all about speaking
definitely.
to people in your shoes. I
Yeah,
think that's how
because
we feel.
yeah,
Yeah, that's how we get real connection. That's one of the big connections we've got, Maddie, isn't it?
yeah,
And I'm
absolutely.
just thinking about how we found, I went out and found a community of educators because
Yeah,
I had a hairdressing one, but I didn't have an educator one when I
yeah,
moved. But we found one, didn't we? We found
yeah. And I
you,
mean, God,
Emma,
yeah, the
Biv,
gang.
thank God.
Yeah, I know. And we speak
But
like every day because it's
every
this
day.
exactly the same as when you're behind the chair. Like, and I think the same is for any self-employment. With all the best intentions in the world, your friends and family, the people that you're going home to. So if you do have those personal connections, like no one gets it unless you've been there.
No,
So people can be like, "Have you tried
no.
this?" Or the amount of people I
Yeah.
see where they're like, "My mum said I shouldn't put my prices up." I'm like, respectfully, no thanks, mum. Um, and I don't know about you, but I remember when I was like part of a team behind the chair as well. I think when you're so
Hmm.
busy, you're like physically with your colleagues, but there's
Yeah,
not really any time for connection because you're literally just like stacked
totally.
work wise.
I worked next to so many of my good friends for years, but didn't talk to them for days and
Yeah,
weeks
literally.
sometimes because you
It's
come
so
in
wild.
just before your clients do 9 clients,
Yeah.
leave, and it was
Yeah.
like you're like hi and bye, but not
Yeah.
really having proper conversations and not keeping that connection going.
Yeah.
And I think that there can be a cost to this
Mm-hmm.
for hairdressers. I think
Yeah.
I wrote something about loneliness on my Instagram page, and people were really, really saying, I do feel lonely as a hairdresser.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, this is something that we've really got to think about. And I think, I'm really focused on how we show up for clients and how that can cost us.
Yeah.
And it's really the same with this. If we make a commitment to showing up for our clients and, really paying attention and, making sure that we are making connection with them, we've really got to make sure that we're looking after ourselves to
Yeah.
do this well and effectively. You
Yeah.
know, being a hairdresser depletes your energy reserves. It does,
Yeah.
and the more that you're investing in your clients, that energy's got to come from somewhere. And so you've got to make sure that your energy reserves are being replenished, And
Yeah.
sometimes you never know what your clients are going to talk about when you make connection with them.
As discussed previously, yeah.
Previously with, I talk about this. So, sometimes you're connecting over maths, but sometimes
Yeah.
people are talking to you about sadness in their lives, and you never know what
Yeah.
you're going to get when you say, how are you doing? And
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this loads, and I think we're never really going to change that aspect of the industry. People are
Mm.
always going to share stuff with us. And whether
Mm.
we like it or not, some people really enjoy that side of it, some people really don't. And so what I
Mm.
think is really important is to always make sure that you're keeping capacity for these
Mm.
conversations, not
Yeah.
turning up to work 100% booked in your life,
Yeah.
100% booked with clients, 100% booked with responsibilities. Like, you've got to kind of keep things around 80%, I think, so you've got a little bit of space for whatever happens that
Yeah.
day, the surprises that come. And I think if we
Yeah.
can take care of ourselves as hairdressers, make sure that we're filling our cup and keeping capacity, that's how we're going to be able to show up for clients but take care of ourselves at the same time.
Yeah. Perfect. So
That's
how
it. Yeah.
how do you suggest then that people look after themselves, or how can they sort of prevent loneliness outside of work?
I've thought about this for myself quite a lot, and I think it's about figuring out how much IRL contact you need, because
Yeah.
so much stuff is becoming virtual. I work virtually most of the time. I'm
Mm-hmm.
coaching all day, a lot of the days of the week, but it's on Zoom, and
Mm-hmm.
and I'm working, and I talk to you every day, Maddie, but rarely in person.
Yeah.
And it's great, isn't it? But I've figured out I need a certain amount of IRL time
Yeah.
as
Definitely.
well.
Yeah.
It just hits better. I don't know how to say it
It's
other than that.
different. Yeah.
It it,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
feels it, it puts more money in the energy bank in real life
Yeah.
than Zoom.
Yeah.
Zoom and IRL connections and all online connections is brilliant. It
Mm-hmm.
absolutely is. I'd be lost without mine with you and
Mm-hmm.
the gang, but I still need to go for a walk or have a coffee with someone in real life and maybe go
Yeah.
out for the night or what have you. And so I've kind of figured out that if I see because I live on my own, if I see someone in the week and someone at the weekend for some real quality time,
Yeah.
that works.
Yeah.
That works for me. And I think you've got to figure out, and I'm talking real life contact outside of hairdressing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really what I'm saying. Outside of beauty therapy, outside of serving your clients,
Yeah.
find time to see your people in real
Yeah.
life. And
Yeah.
I think that sometimes people are feeling lonely because they're not having the right sorts of conversations.
Yeah.
I think
Definitely.
that we're like talking all day but a bit bored sometimes. I mean, sorry
Yeah.
folks, but sometimes you're not having the conversations you want. You made contact with someone, they're having a good time, but it's not. And sometimes you're talking to people in your real life, but you're not necessarily talking about what lights you up, and this can start to feel really lonely. you know
Yeah.
and
Definitely.
so all of that.
All of that. No, I agree. I think it depends on I like personally, especially with people that I know very well, I like a deep conversation. So like if I just had small talk all day, it would just drive me absolutely berserk. But I can get like
Yeah.
so much from like a good deep conversation. I love talking about the future with people and ideas and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like I get much
Yeah.
more from that than I do from like gossipy negative. Do you know what I mean? So there's just a different
Yeah.
style of conversation
Yeah.
that it's like what
Yeah.
energy, whether it depletes or
Yeah.
raises the energy. Yeah.
I like a bit of a bounce between the two. I love a
Yeah.
deep conversation, but I love a
Mhm.
chat about trainers
Yeah.
and,
Yeah. Sometimes.
whatever
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
I
The
kind of
chit
like
chat.
the balance of all of
Yeah.
that. But I think that really what I want people, well, I'll say this. When I was training to be a therapist, one of the things I was told is don't meet your personal needs through your clients.
That's
Because as a
cool.
therapist, your clients, the relationship, it's all about them. It is a one-sided relationship. That's kind of the point. Don't try and change that dynamic so that you're getting more out the conversations, because you might be a bit lonely sat in a room all day talking to people. So don't start turning it into chit chat just to get your own needs met, is really what they're saying. But I really thought about that when I came back into hairdressing after being a therapist, and thought how much in the past I got my needs met through my clients, and it really bit me on the bum when I left,
Oh, I
because I'd
bet, yeah.
invested so much in people who I started to consider as friends, because I talked so much to them. But when I left hairdressing, I didn't see these people all the time. They still thought fondly of me and said hello to me on Facebook, but I didn't see them. And I really learned that lesson hard. And so I think one of the big things to say to people is make sure you're not getting your loneliness needs met through your clients. Make sure you're doing that outside of work and investing in your relationships, and maybe finding a few new ones if you're not having the sorts of conversations that you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I say, I also, you've just kind of triggered a thought there. Like, I wonder if this is why people find it so, like, gut wrenchingly upsetting when a client goes somewhere else, or when whatever that natural end is, because maybe they have been meeting that need that whole way through, and they see it as something. It's almost like dating. Like, if you see someone
Yeah.
much more in a much more serious way than they see you, that can feel really hard. Like, and I do see,
Yeah.
I do see a lot of people really struggle with, like, where it feels like losing a friend, or so, a really
Yeah.
deep connection. So yeah, I think that's really good to
Yeah.
have that met outside of work.
I just think you've got to have a fallback plan. You can't put all
Yeah,
your eggs in one basket into your business. These are my
yeah,
friends. These are how I earn my money. This,
yeah,
it's too much. And
yeah,
so, yeah, I thought that was great.
yeah. I love that. Thank you for that final thought, Jerry's final
That's a
thought.
good one to end on, isn't it? We
Yeah,
love
I
a
love
final
that.
thought.
Thank you. Well, we could do like, you could be
So
like Jeppy might be the name, because you could be like Jerry's final thought. I'm still workshopping the nickname.
we'll go to work on that. We'll keep
We'll
going.
leave that with me. Thank you
So
for that. Shall we do a little hyper focus? Is it time?
yeah. But you know what I
Oh,
was
okay.
thinking about doing on my hyper focus this week, Maddie, was
Oh,
it's been interesting. Recently, I've had a few people dropping into my DMs going, "Don't leave me hanging, Hayley. What was the perfume like? Don't
oh
leave me
good. Yeah, we
hanging.
need a
What was that
recap.
dress like?"
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, yeah. And I talked about stuff I was ordering
The
because I'd got
pre-focus.
sucked in by the marketing, basically, and I'd ordered things, but they hadn't arrived yet.
Yeah,
And so I thought I would do a little update. So
go
it
for it.
has been a mixed bag. So the first thing is the Ever by X dress. So if you remember, this was a dress I ordered from Australia, and you can wear it in 7 different ways. So it's
Yeah.
one size. They only sell it in different lengths and different colours, but you can wear they only ever make one dress, and you can wear it in 7 different ways. And so I looked at this dress for about 6 months before I bought it, because it was a few quid. And anyway, I'm happy to say it's cracking. This is a
Oh,
cracking
mint.
dress,
Thank
Maddie.
God. Good,
Yeah,
good.
and I bought it in black, even though, autumn and all that. Colour Woman says I'm not supposed to wear black, but we ignore that, don't we? Most of
We
the
do.
time, we like black. But I bought black because I can wear black for when I work for L'Oreal, I wear black. And so I thought I can wear it for that. I can wear it for all sorts. So anyway, big win, the Ever by X dress.
Good.
I mean, I've searched Vinted to see if anyone's flogging any, see if I could get one a bit cheaper, but they're never. I've never seen one on Vinted or eBay, which says to me people are keeping them.
Yeah, that's a good sign. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because it's an effort to send it back. It's quite a lot of money. Like the postage was
Yeah.
50 quid. So sending it back would
Jesus.
be an effort.
Yeah.
Yes. The
I'm
second
thrilled.
one is, do you remember that perfume I got obsessed with, Maddie? And it was like, you have to join the list. They might let you
Yeah.
on. They make 4 a year. They make one
The
per
very
season. And
exclusive
yes.
hype
Oh, well,
list.
I got
Yeah.
on the list.
Oh, well
And
done.
they make one every quarter, and they never make it again. So
Yeah,
everything's like a
nice.
little limited edition. And so I
Yeah.
thought I really liked it. And they send you a full bottle in a box and then a sample, and you get 2 weeks to use the sample and decide if you're going to keep it. So I
That's
thought
clever,
this is
yeah.
a win. You know, like you can get your
You
money
can't
back.
lose.
And you can't lose. And I just wanted to see what it was all about. Anyway, it turned up, the spring one, a few weeks ago, and it's gorgeous. Like, this
Oh, yay.
perfume is stunning, and all the reviews say these are complex layered scents and all of that. Honestly, it smells amazing. However, I wouldn't buy it again because it doesn't last. Like,
Ooh, that's
it
tricky, yeah.
doesn't. Like, I feel like I'm having to spray it on like a body spray. You know, if you put a body spray on, I mean, I've not done one since the 90s, but you know, if you did, you'd put a lot on. Whereas a perfume, it's a couple of squirts. You've
Yeah.
got to put a lot on. And then a couple of hours later, I'm like, sniff my wrist and I can't smell it
Oh,
at
that's
all.
disappointing.
And I was a bit sad about that because it smells divine,
Yeah.
but it doesn't last.
Well,
So
you
I
win
wouldn't
some,
buy
you
it
lose
again
some.
for that. So yeah, so there's my little update for anyone who was
Yeah.
interested. Yes, but what about
We
you, Maddie?
appreciate. Well, mine,
What are
funnily
you
enough,
obsessed with?
actually, that we speak about Salon Smart, because obviously that was in London and we hung out for, was it like the day before and all of this, and the evening of. And if you remember back to then, I had not long been back from Florence. And I think Florence initially
Yeah.
triggered it, but then we went to a really amazing, like, Italian cafe thing, didn't we? And
Oh yeah, yeah.
where was that? In Covent Garden?
Well,
Or
it was just
where was
off
it?
Covent Garden. I've got no
Somewhere.
idea what it was called, but it was fabulous, wasn't it?
Yeah, but Berea or something with a B and an R. Anyway, go and work that out.
Yeah.
But my
There
hyper
we are.
focus is pistachio anything. I'm just obsessed. So in Florence, well, previously to that, at my favourite ever bakery up here, Sustenance Society, they do a pistachio pan au chocolat, and it's got like it's like they smush it up, so it's in this like weird goo. It's so nice, so really sweet, and that's like laced all the way through the chocolate, so you get all this. Oh my god, it's so good.
Ooh.
So that kind of started it, and then in Florence, it's just everywhere. Like, I love pistachio ice cream, the gelato. Like,
I
that's
do.
every day. I
Dave.
got a slice. I got a scoop of pistachio with a scoop of salted caramel. That's my favorite ice cream order, and I ate that at every single one I went to because I was taste testing. And then we
You
went
got to see
there.
which is the best one.
Yeah, and we had like that little. You had like a little shot with pistachio chocolate thing. I had a
It was
pistachio
just like
latte.
pure pistachio, but not in an espresso glass, but just like, I don't even know, like a pistachio latte. I'm not sure if there was even coffee in it. It just tasted
Yeah,
pure pistachio, and it was all encrusted round the glass.
yeah, like a
Oh, it was
martini
mega.
glass. It was almost
It
like a
was,
dipped
it
martini glass, wasn't it? It was
was
so
like
good. And
it had
then,
been. It was just like, how much pistachio can we get in this tiny cup? Was
yeah,
what it was mega.
so like I'm just obsessed. And there's a company. I'm very sadly on a cut at the moment. Otherwise, I'd be absolutely just
Ha.
smashing this into my eyeballs. But there's a company which I think you'd love, Haley, called Black Milk, and they make like sauces. And I found them, I think, in lockdown, because they do like, it's like this middle of a Kinder Bueno, but they obviously call it something else. Like that sort of hazelnut cream thing, but they do like a pistachio cream that you can just put it on toast. You can just put it on whatever, like everywhere.
Maddie, I think I might already own this.
Shut up,
So
do you?
I own a pistachio cream that I'm not sure what else you could do with it because I stir it into my coffee. I bought it in a coffee shop
God.
in lockdown,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
You know, like we must have been allowed out because I was sat outside this coffee shop, but
Yeah.
me and my mate were like, oh my God, this stuff's amazing. It was like £7 a jar.
Yeah.
And we bought it, and oh, it's divine. I'm going to send you a photograph of what it is. But yeah, I just little treat myself every now and again, stir it into my
Little.
coffee. I'm with you
Oh,
on the pistachio. I've, long time obsession.
great flavour. So that's it.
What other
Pistachio
ice
flavour,
cream
everything.
flavours are there? Like,
I
if there's
know.
ever pistachio, I'm having it.
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm gonna call this, because I called salted caramel a few years ago, and I was like, this is going to be massive, and it was massive. And I feel like I had another one that I do. I'm a trend forecaster for food, and I think pistachio is going to be massive. It's just my little hot tip for everyone. But
yeah,
yeah,
mega.
anything pistachio flavored.
This is going to kickstart mine now because I mean, I've been obsessed with pistachio for a long time, but hyperfocus is different, isn't it? Because it's like mega obsessed in the moment.
Yeah.
But I feel this is going to kickstart mine now.
Yeah.
That's what's
Well,
going
we
to
can
happen.
discuss. We love condiments. We like babies. We love jarred foods. We love pureed
Yes.
foods. Like little bands.
Things to make what you've been eating the same every day a bit more exciting.
Yeah, like how can you level up the meal that you have every day for the last 8 months? Oh, put some pistachio sauce on it.
I'm putting Bongo's chili jam on everything at the moment, as
I
usual.
know you're
I've
just
talked about that before.
still on that
It's
hype,
my
aren't you?
fave.
So good.
I
I
bought
love chili
4
jam.
jars the other day because the postage is the same for one as it is for like 4.
Girl math.
And
Yeah,
I just
makes
thought,
sense.
I mean, I boshed through this stuff heavy, so I just bought 4. Amazing.
So good.
Living the best life.
I love a condiment as my fave. Right, well, I'm going to go away and cry thinking about pistachio till I speak to you next week.
Yes, I'm going to go and put some of that stuff in my coffee.
Okay, enjoy. I'll vicariously live through you.
See you next week, Maddie.
All right, see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments.
Please support those who support us and check out Timely, who we recommend is our favourite booking system for you. New customers can get 50% off their first 3 months with the code COFFEE50.